It's not far away. What do we got? About 10 days before Tennessee and Virginia kick off at Nissan Stadium. The good news, at least in their long-range forecast, has high temperatures more in the 80s, upper 80s, as opposed to this Saturday when Vandy and Hawaii go at it. 98 degrees, the high on Saturday. Hello.
Little prep for it this week.
Hot.
Woo. No kidding. Okay, let's check in. Let's see what Tony is wearing. The shirt is
College World Series.
Yeah.
Oh man, I just ate something. Oh
We
man,
had a little issue there.
I got a little issue. We call that age where I come from. Old people probs.
Right. Kelly just called me old man on the air.
Well,
Really
I'm wearing my Kelly
appreciated
green
that.
for Kelly. I'm wearing my Kelly green for Kelly.
So Tony, when you get old, you can usually hit your mouth, though. You know what I'm saying? It's got to go in there. It doesn't go on your shirt. It goes in your mouth.
Well, I'm sure this will turn into some memes on Twitter by the haters. But what are you going to do, guys? So let me get this right. It's going to be 98 degrees down there. I'm playing a private party, let's see, out in Murfreesboro with my band, George, on Saturday afternoon. Are you telling me it's going to be warm on us?
I'm telling you, it's going to be hotter than the blazes.
So I'm playing Friday night at Calhoun's on the River, and it was supposed to be in the 90s here. So you're telling me that we're going to cook this weekend?
Yes. I would go shorts.
Okay.
So Tony, where are you going to be in Murfreesboro, brother?
We're playing a guy's private party. I don't know, somebody who.
Oh.
I don't do that, but yeah, my band does.
Well, hold on. Let me give Kelly just this thought. You're not invited.
Kelly, you're more than invited.
I know. I'd be invited by Tony, but I'm glad the people didn't ask me, so I'd have to tell them no.
Well, I want you to come up and sing with us, man.
Oh, and put on the shades real quick. So
I want to know who this guy is that you're dealing with, Tony. You know what I'm saying? I look a little bit like the Terminator, don't I, George?
Yeah, very
I'm
much.
not messing with you, Kelly.
Don't you think so?
Yeah, if I saw you out and let's say you were in the other lane, I'd stay away from you like a potential road rage case. But George, I see where you're going to have that Nashville FC guy on. What an incredible scene!
Oh,
I happen to be a big fan of the MLS. I've championed it since it began. And what an incredible scene Saturday night in that place. Did those people show out or did they show out? And that team showed out. And that was a great night for that franchise.
I was able to be there, Tony. It was unbelievable on the field.
Wow.
And I was telling them it feels like a college football game because we've all been to a lot of college football games, but the cheers don't stop, right? Yep. You know, third down, not converted in a football game, it gets pretty quiet from the home crowd. But obviously soccer, you know, it's a madhouse, the whole match.
So I got to get down to a game, guys. I got to.
Come on. You pick one out and I'll take you.
What?
Absolutely.
You be seen in public with me? It's one thing to have me on here. It's another thing to be seen in public.
I would go the other way, Tony. You might not want to be seen with George.
Wow. So yesterday, Kelly, who really gets into soccer, wanted to know why Mr. Messi spells what looks like Lionel to be Lionel. Can you help him with that?
No, I'm not much on the Romance languages. I love romance, but I'm not much on the Romance languages. I will say this, though, Kelly, that guy, it's almost unfair what that guy can do. Any great athlete can take space and manipulate it, and they're just geniuses at it. I grew up watching Wayne Gretzky play hockey, and Messi has that same thing on a football field. Joe Montana had that on a football field. Messi has it on the soccer pitch, football field, whatever you want to call it. Wayne Gretzky could do it on the ice. Michael Jordan could do it. Those great athletes, it's like they have the really, really, really brilliant ones. It's like they have a little, like a quarter second, they can just anticipate what's going to happen before it happens.
It's crazy, man. How much did he get paid by Inter Miami, guys? Do we know?
I don't know, but they broke the bank and they went off the league's pay scale, and the rest of the league doesn't think it's fair. And they've got to be careful with that because you can get your league upside down pretty quickly. But that was a smart signing because it's going to get people to sample their product that ordinarily wouldn't. And when they sample it, they're going to find out that it's really a pretty good version of the game. And it's really good that it's live and it's there and tickets are affordable. And it's a great way to, I'll tell you what they've done. They've done a really nice job with the 20-somethings. That's a sport that really resonates with the 20-somethings. And if you look in that, like I go to games in Philadelphia when I go back to where I'm from, and there's 20-somethings there. It's just what it is. It's a constant 20-something thing. So, and that's a beautiful facility they have there. And I'm glad that Vanderbilt's not going to soil that place by playing in it. I thought there was a chance Vanderbilt could, but they're not. They're going to let it be sacred, Billy.
Well, so John Ingram, or, I use this term a lot, has been the team owner at Vandy for a long time and kind of put his money where his mouth was on that facility and bringing an MLS soccer team. One of the things I want to talk to him about, and I'd love your opinion on this, does what happened last weekend all of a sudden open up what I'll call the 4-hour market? Evansville, Indiana, Lexington, Birmingham, Horn Lake, Mississippi, Memphis, Tennessee, Little Rock. Does that franchise now start getting people from those places to pick out a weekend a little bit, let's say, like the Braves?
Yeah. Or, kind of like the Titans who draw from around the region. George, I think so. Because the more people get exposed to that product, the more people are going to find that it's pretty good. And I was just so proud of the way the Nashville team played, because I'm a Philly fan and my Philly team got completely scared, afraid of the moment. They changed their tactics. They weren't who they were supposed to be. And man, that Nashville team went right after those guys. They attacked them.
Yeah.
And I loved it. That Mukhtar guy can really play. The German national that Nashville has, and then they've got some good players on the back line as well. And boy, that was a great sporting event. Really real. And Nashville just showed out. It was such a beautiful night.
Mukhtar is Nashville's version of Messi. He's a
great player.
A league MVP candidate now for several years. Tony, let's shift it to Tennessee. I'll make my part of it really quick to move to to Kelly. Where are they right now? What are you hearing? Obviously, they've had some scrimmages. Tell me the best info you think's going on with them.
Camp broke. Josh Heupel met the press yesterday. Nobody's gotten injured for the most part. They do have the Cooper Mays situation that's going to drag on. My belief is through the Virginia game, probably my guess is wouldn't see the field till the Florida game, which means they're going to play with a makeshift offensive line. They, in years past, have not had the same tempo when he's not on the field. My guy, Matt Dixon, wrote a piece over on our blog today. Cooper Mays is probably the second most important player on Tennessee's offense. So he's got to get back. Tennessee's offensive line can't afford any injuries, and they already have one. Now, it might be a blessing in disguise because it'll help them develop some depth going forward, but they just can't afford injuries. One of the things they've learned about themselves is they're going to be really, really good at linebacker, which is a good thing. They are going to have issues from the outside rushing the quarterback. Last year, that was a problem area. It probably is going to be a problem area this year. They may have to do some creative things to get home. They were hoping they would have they signed a pretty good lot of secondary players, brought some young kids in that they have high hopes for, but none of them are going to win a job out of camp. So they're going to have a veteran secondary. That's okay. At times can look like they're playing, George, the game we used to play, the electric football game, where, guys are all over the board, but they're going to be better defensively. Offensively is going to be where their issues are, because you've got a quarterback who, on his best days, doesn't get the ball out the way, say, a Hendon Hooker did. And you've got an offensive line that could struggle, especially against the better competition. And so how those two play will determine whether Tennessee's talking about at year's end an 8-4 season, a 10-2 season, I don't know, an 11-1 season. I guess it's all possible. But they have an interesting team anyway. It's going to be a really interesting year around here.
Oh, you know that. Kelly, I'm going to move to you quick because I've stolen some of the time. Have at it.
Well, that was the big question I was going to ask about Cooper Mays. That was one of the things that I had written down. Like, how big of a deal is that? Because he's kind of one of the, they lost two guys to the NFL last year, but he gets injured, and he's one of the guys that is the leader, the experience of the O-line. And will he be back by the Florida game, you think?
The thought is yes, and I think they're going to be overly cautious with him, because I believe it's some kind of abdominal issue, and I don't think you want to see a situation where you put him out there against a Virginia team that you're a 4-touchdown favorite with, and then Austin Peay, with all due respect, that's a game just to kind of play some kids and get some reps in and get them a paycheck, but you don't want to expose them there. So I would suspect that he gets held out till the Florida game, and that's going to be a big test for Milton, big test for their offensive line. The truth is, they just don't play with the same tempo when he's not under center, and he is quietly really valuable to them, really valuable.
So coming out of camp, who impressed and who kind of degressed? Was there any players that really looked good, or that nobody knew about that came along, and then somebody that was really good and just kind of taking a back seat? Are there any guys like that?
Well, they've got some newcomers on their offense. This Thornton kid at wide receiver is going to be a terrific player. Tennessee has gone into the portal, and they've helped themselves at wide receiver 2 years in a row now. The McCoy kid, who they got last year, who had the issues at USC, he's a great story. He's taken a step forward. McCoy, when they signed him, was the kid that was at Texas. He was at USC. This bed's too hard. This bed's too soft. Kelly, he's a great story. He's been on they've got a thing on their campus for athletes that they call a leadership. The word is like a leadership, I want to say commission, leadership, something or other. Anyway, it's comprised of athletes across the campus in different sports, and it's a leadership type deal where they teach these young people leadership skills. He's on it. And he has been about a 180 from what they were expecting. They were expecting, we got to bring this guy in, keep the wheels on him. He's a guy that's come in, he's bought in. And what you're dealing with Tennessee is 17 of their kids that are frontline players are veteran, senior type football players. So, and several of them have waited their turn. One of the guys, Ollie Lane, on the offensive line, he's been seeing time at center, but he's had a really good camp just in terms of solidifying himself as a lineman here. Mincy, transfer from Florida, has developed as their best offensive lineman. So they've had guys who have come along. The issues with their team are going to be the issues, and they just need one of these talented defensive ends to kind of put it together and have a solid season. If that happens and they can figure out their offensive line issues, who knows? Tennessee might be right back in the spot of shocking the world again this year. Who knows?
Was there anybody that kind of digressed this camp, or that we thought that was going to start that is not there?
one guy that comes to mind that a young offensive lineman that they sort of had some high hopes for is Addison Nichols, who this is his second year in the program, and they have space. They have opportunity for him to play. And thus far, he's just not there. And, the word I hear is that they feel like after this season, they're going to almost be forced to go into the transfer portal and take the best 2 or 3 they can find and hope they can make them all stick. And as you know, that can be difficult because a lot of times in the portal, you're getting somebody else's problems. But he's one guy that comes to mind. To be honest with you, they've had a camp where here's what I hear on their young players. They don't think there's a whiff in their class, especially defensively, which that's a great sign because generally at this time of the year, we hear this guy can't play, that guy can, this guy can't, this guy, and then in time, depending on how guys develop, they're not saying that about anybody in their young class. So it has been a very even summer here. We haven't had any police blotter stuff. We haven't had really any off-field issues here. I'll tell you guys, I've been doing this, every day since 1994. Easily the quietest summer we've ever had here, easily, which I don't know whether that's a good sign or a bad sign, and they've had a very focused camp like you would expect veterans to take it. And they don't put players through things that you used to go through, Kelly. So camps are a little easier than they used to be.
No, I told George and them that. I remember my first year in Indianapolis when I was with Indy and Fonnie, and we had 5 weeks of training camp, and I was so ready to be done with that trash. I was ready to go home, and we practiced 2 times every day, and then sometimes we had a special teams practice in the middle of the day. So it's
Wow.
it's a totally different deal in the pros, in college, everywhere. It really is.
Yeah. And, I guess they came to the conclusion if we want to keep football with us, we better keep these people safe. The other thing that goes on now that didn't go on back then, just to be fair, you didn't have all the off-season training back then you did now. Guys would go away. They would get fat. They would be out of shape. You would need to put them through the rigors of 2-a-day, 3-a-day type camps. Now these guys are tremendous athletes who take care of themselves, who eat properly. They don't live like the rest of us in America, so to speak.
They do not.
Oh, that was a great way to end it. So, in between private parties,
Yes,
none of which Kelly is invited to. Kelly, by the way, let me just say, I've got a better shot of being invited than you do.
I love that both of you. George, can you sing?
No.
You don't know that.
I'm asking George. You don't
Have
know.
have you seen
You
George
don't
hit a
wanna
golf
hear
ball? He can't hit a golf ball. He can't sing. He can do talk radio and podcast. That's what he can do.
He's got some great pipes. If he did some kind of like spoken word poetry and we just played behind him, kind of like some Gil Scott-Heron, I'd be in on that.
I think if you could put like a canvas over me where nobody sees me, that's where radio was so effective.
You're a showman, man.
It was so effective that way. What does he look like? Oh, my Lord.
We could do this, but Kelly, if Kelly comes and sings a tune with us, my one request is that he loses those shades, because when he put those things on, seriously, a little scary.
I got to find out who this is. I got to find out who this is, Tony. You got to figure out who it is and get it to Billy. I know you don't have my number, but I know you got Billy's number because you want to hire him. So,
I'm gonna find out here in a second, because my daughter's living down there now and she wants to come. So she's living in amongst y'all. So
maybe we can do a contest where we get somebody invited to this soiree.
Yes. Well, I would rig it for Billy, because Billy's my numero uno.
Oh, we know. We get
Billy's
that. You and Watson as well. Watson too.
Well, I love Uncle Watson, but there's something about Billy. I think
Watson's your daddy.
Guys, I'm going to take Billy under wing, and I'm going to get him to become a Tony Vitello acolyte before this thing's over.
Oh, wow.
That's
Tony, do you realize how phony Billy is? Do you know how phony that guy is? It's all show.
That
It's all
sounds
show.
personal, Billy. Billy, this is personal.
It is.
Here.
Kelly goes for the jugular. I mean,
Wow.
first couple weeks it was tough, but
Since Kelly has come on the show, Billy has taken on a significant amount of water.
I thought you were going to say he's taking on a bigger role. Yeah, he's taking on poor
I
Billy.
could easily just take Kelly off the screen whenever I wanted to.
Do it right now. I'd like to see that.
So,
That
Billy-
was beautiful.
Billy, will you be there at that game in 98-degree weather?
Which one?
The Vanderbilt game Saturday?
I will.
Wow. In what capacity? Are you covering it? Or are you
I will
watching
be
it?
up in the press box. I don't know if you knew, I'm actually working with Chris Lee now at Vandy
that's
Sports.
awesome,
So yeah, I'll be up there. But yeah, it's going to be hot, and the end zones are under construction. So it should be interesting to see how fans are getting in and out of that place.
George, what size crowd that game Saturday? What do you think? What's your guess?
I'm
that
guessing
weather.
slightly over 20.
Be a nice. I mean, if it's that warm,
Yeah. Ooh.
God bless anybody that goes to that.
They do
Especially
this
the players.
thing. They do this thing where they have the freshmen run out on the football field
Mhm.
before the game, and it's the class of whatever class it is.
Mhm.
And what you see oftentimes is by about the middle of the first quarter, they start streaming out of there, and all of a sudden, this full student body is reduced down to Billy and about 3 of his relatives.
Mhm.
It's,
We call that tradition.
yes,
Tradition where I come from.
we certainly do.
I bet
Hey.
Tennessee fans are happy they don't have to play there this year.
Tell them where they can hear you.
tclub.team there every day. We put about 3,000 words up today, but some of it actually even made sense and was grammatically correct. So tclub.team. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for putting up with me.
Hey, be listening at 3 when we have John Ingram on. I want to hear, oh my God. I want to hear, I want your reaction later to some of what he says. I'm in total agreement, Tony.
I'll love his segment. I'll like it a lot more than those sunglasses. I know that.
Oh,
But congratulate him for all the great work they've done, because really, that's a first-class show they put on Saturday night. First class.
I'll pass it on to him. I
Yeah.
know he'll appreciate it.
Thank you.
After the break, Corey Hart, you get that? I wear my sunglasses at night in case, yeah.
Kelly's got
gosh.
issues. See you guys.
He will continue with us in a moment.